good morning everybody. This is Atomic Zero of Addicted to Loot, and today we're going to be talking about the Total War Warhammer Siege Q&A that was recently released by Creative Assembly. So with that, let's just get right into this. Ladder deployment. We have seen from Siege videos released by Creative Assembly and by other YouTubers that all non-monstrous units can deploy free ladders when they reach the walls, citing a decision made to not create a ladder animation for all units. I can understand this decision considering how vastly different the unit visuals are, from orc, from dwarf, undead, zombie, to human. However, they could have gone as far as creating a unique wall animation for each of the different races. Like the humans and the dwarves get grappling hooks, the undead can actually climb walls just using their hands because they don't care if there's any skin left on them. Next point they make is that they wanted to improve battle flow and functionality by making placement at the walls easier. I do think this actually is a good choice for siege flow, since this allows you to target a unit with a location on the wall and they can just run up to the wall, deploy the ladders, and run up to that location. They don't have to worry about a ladder that was previously deployed by another unit to figure out the best way of getting to the location that you targeted. That being said, as a defender, or as a person who likes to defend cities, I do like the ability to target ladder carriers as they're running up to the walls. This might be a moot point considering they do get a ladder debuff after they climb up the walls, but you do lose that few moments when they're deploying the ladders to get a few, maybe get off one last volley or kill off a few more of them. This last point I have an issue with. Creative Assembly has stated numerous times that they want to make wall battles more epic. They want to make siege battles about holding the walls. Being able to hold off choke points where units come off the walls is part of that. If any troop can just hop off the wall without hurting themselves or causing any damage to the unit, there's very little point to trying to hold the wall longer and just fall back to the streets. Siege defense strategies might boil down to leaving a few units on the wall to kill off as many debuffed units as they can if they use a lot of ladders, but if they use a lot of siege towers, there might not be a huge point to holding the walls when you can just fall back to actual choke points in the streets, which is, as we all know, a far better strategy with any other type of Total War siege defense. Next point Creative Assembly makes is about siege towers versus ladders. I actually like how they balance the functionality of the two options. Ladders are free and require no build time, but give a debuff once you get up onto the walls. Siege towers are slower and require turns to build, but provide defense for the entire unit and don't cause the attacker to lose the unit if the tower is destroyed. This will make me weigh the decision to siege a settlement right away to prevent them from reinforcing from other nearby settlements. Additionally, the visuals of the siege towers are really spot on. The ones I've seen so far give me the impression that they were actually made by that faction. Vampire accounts have towers made of bones, clay, and radiated glowing mist. Greenskin towers look thrown together using whatever they can find. Next on the list is a whole bunch of smaller points the community has observed over the last few gameplay videos. Magic is a major game changer in this Total War, and it's no surprise that they need to continuously tweak it. The siege battles we've seen have had numerous casters spamming spells that didn't seem to really make a huge difference in the tide of battle. They probably helped, but not to the impact I would expect. This could possibly be changed by making spells a lot stronger, but increasing the cost to limit the number that you can cast during a battle. We'll see how this works itself out prior to launch. The AI within Siege defenses, at least, we haven't seen attacks, have made a few questionable calls in the videos we've seen, but overall they are vastly better than previous games. It will make attacking and defending during the campaign a much more enjoyable experience. Battle speed is one of the points I'm going to get hung up on during this video. I'm a huge proprietor for long grinding siege battles since they seem more realistic to me. I want the feeling of barely clinging onto a settlement I'm protecting, or the thrill of conquering this massive, major milestone within my campaign. I don't get this in a battle lasting less than 20 minutes, which is ones we've seen, but we'll get more into this as we get more into these siege points. The sting clouds and the arrow trails don't have a major impact on the game, specifically within the experience, but I like how they're treating them. The fact that one can be toggled and that they're decreasing the sting cloud animations. I don't think any orc is barbaric enough to actually radiate stink clouds. Now we're getting into some major topics. They say they're happy with the various sizes across the numerous settlement layouts, and maybe they have reason to be. However, you cannot make this claim to a community that has only seen maybe about 3 or 4 layouts that were roughly about the same size, especially when a level 1 and a level 4 settlement had the same layout, size included. I cannot accept this statement and will hope to be proven wrong. More on this when we get into the next slide, which pertains to layout or similar layouts between factions. Okay, they claim they are changing up siege battles to focus specifically on the walls. Let's take a closer look at the Altdorf battle that between the vampire counts and the Empire that Creative Assembly released. Okay, so keep in mind this is a capital settlement that's level 4. The battle starts at approximately 7 minutes and 47 seconds after they get through all their talking points. The troops finally reach the walls at about 9 minutes 20 seconds, meaning there's about a minute and a half of movement prior to the battle. The wall battle actually ends about 14 minutes and 20 seconds approximately. So that gives us about 5 minutes of wall fighting. Not really epic to me. I mean, at least 5 minutes of wall battles isn't super epic to me. There might be more units on the wall, but there wasn't any epic struggle to it. This could have been a choice of the AI not to put every troop on the wall and maybe fall back to the streets, but it didn't give me that epic feel. The whole battle actually ends at about 21 minutes even, meaning that there's 7 minutes of street battle post-wall battle. More than half the fighting takes place on the streets and the city center. The wall battle actually is a bigger aspect of the battle. I mean, it's not 50-50, but the fact that the percentages are close to that do give me a better feel of, okay, well, the wall battles are a more contributing factor to the overall battle. That being said, the overall total length of this battle for a level 4 max capital settlement was 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Let me say that again. 13 minutes. How can a max level faction, especially a capital siege battle, be decided in 13 minutes? No. Just no. This is Warhammer. You need to give me an epic siege that makes me sweat till the last troop is killed. I could accept this from a lower tier settlement with a small garrison, but not a faction capital that's just about max level. I wanted something more from this Total War, not a whole lot less. Now let's keep this rank going for the next point. Same layouts. They claim there's a variety of layouts and city sizes, and maybe there are, but once again, don't tell me this when you've only showed me a few. I already voiced my opinions on this. I'm not gonna get more into it than I already have. I'm glad these same layouts will look different aesthetically, and that's an improvement over previous historical titles, considering almost all small settlements just were made up of the same farms and buildings and everything else. I would accept this for, once again, the outlying settlements, but not for larger walled cities. I can see why they're trying to use the siege improvements as a defense, but the way they're using it makes me seem like they only want to optimize the AI to hold a small number of layouts, meaning that all siege battles will ultimately boil down to similar experiences once you've seen enough of these settlements. Not what I want to hear, and I'm hoping to be proven wrong on this. The next point really bothers me, to like the fiber of my gaming soul. How can you claim that the unique army compositions of different factions can outweigh the design of a settlement? It can't. I don't want to make sure I carry the same type of stack into every battle because I know who I'm fighting and exactly the type of layout I'll be facing. That means that at most, I have to customize my strategies for 4 different ways to target the other factions. I want to worry about how many choke points they may have, how great the killing field their range units will have, or maybe what different elevations I'm going to be facing because I need to maybe carry much more different troop layouts. Yes, you can statistically figure out that there's thousands of army combinations, but that goes out the window extremely quick when you find one working combination for each settlement and faction type, especially when the battles only last 20 frickin' minutes. Okay, breathing, rant over, let's get on to the final point. Okay, so these 2 final points really weren't that major, so I lumped them into one. The undead get tired. Yep, it's a placeholder. That's not how they're actually going to use it, so they're going to fix that prior to launch. The speed of crumbling is the difference between shaken and routing. Once they're fully routing, they're fully crumbled, and the unit disappears. We've seen this in the Altdorf battle once. The general finally dies off. Basically, the entire unit crumbles. There's probably more balancing in that they need to do prior to launch, but I can see the difference between the two, and I can see how they're actually utilizing them. Well, with that is the conclusion of my impressions of the Total War Warhammer Siege Q&A released by Creative Assembly. Please use this as a discussion point either within my video comments or within the Reddit comments because I know there's varying impressions on what this actually could be. Regardless of what I said in this, I'm still going to be buying the game. I'm still going to be pouring a whole lot of hours into it, and I'm hopefully going to be trying to maintain my hype for this game. But until then, I have been Atomic Zero of Addicted to Loot. Please come by again.